From our What Keeps Us Up at Night department comes this question. Are you one of us? A curious soul who can't live without asking yourself all kinds of deep, thoughtful, or even crazy hypotheticals? Like, why do birds fly? What if the sun never set? Where did Rocky Road ice cream get its name? Anyway, why don't we try to figure out the one about the sunset thing? Alright. So, if the sun doesn't look as if it's going to set anytime soon, and is probably already several days, I'm guessing the planet has probably stopped spinning. And this leaves us with all kinds of disturbing notions. The first thing you would feel if Earth stopped spinning would be a mighty jerk. No, not me, another mighty jerk. Our planet rotates at a velocity of 1,037 miles per hour. That's twice as fast as the average speed of a commercial jet, and how quickly rumors spread on Twitter. But since you rotate along with the planet and everything else on it, you don't notice this at all. Now, imagine this. A car is flying down the highway at top speeds, and then the driver suddenly slams on the brakes. What's going to happen? Everything and everybody inside the car will be thrown forward. And the passengers are lucky if they're wearing seatbelts. But you wouldn't have a seatbelt on if Earth stopped spinning. That's why you, along with billions of other people, would fly into the air at 1,037 miles per hour. That's incredibly fast. But even this speed is still not enough to launch you into space. That's why, unfortunately, you'll only be flying over the surface of the planet. Until you hit something, going at 1,000 miles an hour. Now, the fact that Earth has stopped spinning would mean nothing for the atmosphere, which would keep moving for a while. This would make for winds and waves that you've never seen before, even on TV. These gusts and tsunamis would wreak massive destruction by wiping away buildings and cars, playgrounds and trees. But you know the worst thing that would happen? The winds would damage and erode the Earth's crust. Then, any break in Earth's spinning would mess up gravity. As a result, your down after the planet stopped rotating would feel like it was at a 38-degree angle from the previous vertical down, and it would knock down the rest of the buildings and vertical constructions. Are we having fun yet? Right now, the Earth's spin creates a force that keeps oceans in place. If the Earth stopped, all the water in the seas and oceans would head toward the poles. There would be one massive supercontinent around the equator with the South and North Poles having turned into oceans. Many countries, such as Canada and Greenland, and a big part of Europe and Asia, would go underwater. Also, without rotation, the dark side of our planet would be freezing while the bright side would be boiling. The constant sunlight would heat the planet until the temperature rose above boiling at 212 degrees Fahrenheit. The central supercontinent at the equator would get the most heat. As a result, rivers and lakes would boil away. Thus, any semblance of life would remain only along narrow strips of land near the coast. But wait, there's more. Earth stops spinning, its gravity doesn't function anymore, and the next thing you have, should you survive this so far, is there's no atmosphere, which is usually kept in place by the planet's gravitational force. You probably know that the atmosphere protects the planet from cosmic radiation. That's why the consequences of losing the atmosphere would be, shall we say, bad. Our beautiful green planet would turn into a lifeless lump of rock. You and I would just be lifeless lumps. Well, that's a pretty scary scenario. Lucky for you, it's highly unlikely to happen. And even if it did, it would take Earth around 1.9 trillion years to stop existing. So, you have plenty of time to tackle that to-do list or binge-watch Brightside videos. But hold on, this isn't the only catastrophic scenario that pops up in my head at night. What about this? What if the sun suddenly turned into a black hole? Would our planet get sucked inside and disappear? Well, research indicates this won't happen. It turns out that the sun isn't big enough to turn into a black hole. It's huge alright, but a star needs to be 10 times bigger than the sun to finally collapse into a black hole. And even if the sun managed to get the status of a black hole, it'd be a itty-bitty one, just 4 miles across. So that means the gravitational force of this baby black star wouldn't exceed its current amount. The sun wouldn't contain more matter than it has now, and it wouldn't move closer to the planets. So Earth wouldn't get sucked inside, and we're all relieved. Only there wouldn't be this warm ball of light in the sky anymore, and the planet would freeze. Ice would cover its surface, the atmosphere would fall on the planet as liquid cold rain, and the world would turn into one huge freezer. But at least your lemonade would stay cold. Okay, but wait. What if a stray black hole entered the solar system? Would it be able to swallow the Earth? Don't I really need to get some sleep? Although the black hole would be thousands of times smaller than Earth, its mass would be that much greater. You wouldn't see the approach of the black hole, but you might notice our neighboring planets disappear one by one. You'll also notice your neighbors disappearing too. Whoops! Hey Bob, where'd you go? As soon as the black hole reached the asteroid belt between Jupiter and Mars, Earth would already start to feel its gravitational pull. It would begin to tear the planet apart, causing volcanic supereruptions and catastrophic earthquakes. Even before the black hole reached our planet, Earth would already look like an uninhabitable, magma-laden chunk of rock. I am somewhat relieved by the math that the possibility of a stray black hole devouring our planet is 1 in a trillion. Worse odds than the Super Lotto. So, let's move to the next troublesome question. What if the sun blew up? If it happened one day, our yellow star would turn into a much cooler red giant. During this transformation, the sun would consume Venus, Mercury, and us on Earth. At least, we wouldn't have to suffer for long, since the catastrophe would take no more than one day. At first, you would be oblivious to the solar explosion that just happened. It takes sunlight 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach Earth. That's why, if the sun blew up, you probably wouldn't realize it for, 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's why I'm leaving with the dolphins before it happens. So long, and thanks for all the fish. If the sun exploded, it would shoot out a huge amount of very powerful energy. As soon as it reached the planet, this energy would wipe out all life forms off the surface of the Earth. But gee, let's imagine that our planet somehow managed to survive and even keep going without light from the sun. Unfortunately, the leftover radiation would make sure that nobody and nothing survived the disaster. Besides, Earth wouldn't have its ozone layer anymore, so there'd be nothing to protect the planet from cosmic radiation, high temperatures, and other dangerous stuff coming from space. Well, there's no way to spin this to a happy ending, is there? As you can see, it's in our best interest to keep the sun safe. But what if a gigantic comet crashed into our star? Would the sun suffer from such a collision? Would you like to lock me up in the garage now? Now, first of all, to reach the sun's lower atmosphere, the comet needs to be not just massive, but really massive. If a comet was big enough and it happened to pass close to the sun, the star's gravity would catch it and accelerate its steep fall up to 373 miles per second. As a result, the comet would get flattened like a pancake before it even reached the lower atmosphere. A few minutes later, the comet would explode and release X-rays and ultraviolet radiation. It would look as if a bomb was blown up on the sun. With a gigantic comet, the collision might even cause sunquakes in the solar atmosphere. But, according to scientists, people wouldn't feel even the slightest echo of this event. So I guess there's no point in worrying about this scenario. Alright, I feel better now. No more doom and gloom. Until tomorrow night. Hey, do you have any other what-if questions left unanswered? Go ahead and leave them in the comment section below and let's discuss it together. Remember to hit the like button, share this video with your curious friends, and click subscribe to stay on the bright side of life.